We have a couple of fundamental events outlined for today. So this simply means we would expect volatility sponsored from a fundamental standpoint today. That is what this simply connotes. We could expect volatility that is sponsored from a fundamental standpoint because of the number of fundamental events we have today. The first we have is going to be by 7 a.m., which, okay, just a minute, please. Let me let me quickly synchronize our time to West Africa or Central because the 7 a.m. news have occurred already. Okay, great. So I just refreshed. So the first one we had was the 7 a.m., which was on the pounds, but this occurred about 9-10 minutes ago, which from the data we got to see that pounds is positive. So this has happened already. We'll focus on the fundamentals that are yet to happen. And we have the next, which is going to be by 1:30. 1:30, the next high impact news. Now remember, for those who are just joining this live, maybe you're new to PRE or any of our trainings, the red folders indicate high impact news. The brown folders indicate medium impact news. The yellow folder, which is not listed here, indicates low impact news. High impact news are news events that tends to give a lot of volatility to the market. So once you see high impact news, you could expect that the market is going to have momentum movement, a lot of movement or a lot of momentum. When you see a medium folder, you could expect zero to no movement from the market. So most of the time you just flow or you just move with your already predetermined analysis. So this is what basically happens. So we have a high impact news today, which is going to be coming about 1:30. This is going to be on a Canadian dollar. And this news focuses primarily on the CPI performance of the dollar. The CPI simply means Consumers Price Index. Now, this is a data that tends to show us if there's currently an inflation in a country, if there is no inflation in a country, based off of the production of goods consumed, the consumption of goods in that country. So you agree with me that the ability for consumers to purchase a certain price of goods at a particular period of time will determine the strength of an economy. Example, there's a time in Nigeria where you could easily purchase a bag of rice for about 30,000. It's a 50 kg bag of rice about 30,000, but right now it's going for about 90 something, 80 something, or 100 something thousand. So that shows you that there's an increase in inflation. And what does that simply mean? It simply means it's negative for the currency, for the Nigeria currency. So the CPI data clearly reveals to us if the performance of a nation is doing well or doing poorly. That is what that basically reveals to us. So moving on from right here, I'll be moving to the technical side of things so that we get to analyze the market from a technical approach. Please indicate if you can see my chart clearly. Okay, great. So this is the UXDX, which also means the dollar index. And from the dollar index, yesterday I had analyzed the dollar index is currently on the downtrending market. And what I'll be expecting is, I think yesterday the market was around this area here. I stated clearly that I'm going to be expecting a retracement to the top before a possible continuation to the downside. And I can see that clearly happening right here. So dollar index was still bearish on dollar index. So I'm looking for more sellers to the bottom. So we had a break below. We had this movement to the top. I'm expecting movement towards the downside. That is my anticipation on dollar index. I'm still bearish on dollar index. So if I'm bearish on dollar index, this simply means every other currencies that are negatively correlated with the dollar index, I'll be expecting buying moves from them. Currencies like GBP USD, like Euro USD, I'll be expecting bullish movement from them because the dollar index is currently bearish. So we've held a perspective or a view of the dollar index, which simply means we are selling. So this is going to stand as a focal point to which we get to view every other currency that are either positively correlated or negatively correlated with the dollar index. Very quickly, I'll move back to Euro USD so that we get a picture its performance. Okay, so this is Euro USD right here. And Euro USD, I can clearly see that we had an uptrending market where we had a higher high. Right here, we had a higher low, right here, a higher high. We had a higher low right here. We had a higher high right here. So we had a higher high, we had a higher low right here. Right here, I can clearly see that we had a higher high. So this is all clearly indicating to me that this market is currently bullish. So if we're bullish on this market, this simply means I'll look out for more buyers than sellers on this market. And I can see clearly that my trading range is between this area right here. Market is currently trading in between this area right here and this area right here. So at most, I'll simply be expecting a retracement to the bottom here before I go in for a buy towards the top. This is what my anticipation is going to be. So going straight to the 15 minutes time frame, I want to look for confirmations for an entry, of which I can see right here, the previous break or structure I had was right here as well. So we had one like a sweep right here before we break our structure to this point. So this simply means I'll be anticipating a retracement to this area to sweep all this liquidity before I go in for a buy. So if the market doesn't come down to this area, I won't be looking out for any buyers. I'm looking out for buying trades until the market literally pulls down to that area right there. So that is going to be the only reason why I'll look forward to buying or taking up a buy on that's another reason I look forward to taking up a buy on GBP USD. So look at this box right here. I'll be waiting for the market to tap into this area right here for me to look for a buy. Or possibly this area right here. So this liquidity has to be taken out. I can see a double bottom right here, which indicates an area of liquidity that needs to be swept before we continue to the top. So this is my anticipation on GBP USD. I'm still bullish on GBP USD. Just a slight retracement for me to go into the top or for me to take a buy on this particular currency. The next currency I'll be considering is actually it's the euro. It's euro USD. So next the next currency I'll be considering is the euro USD, which you had a pull to the top right here, a pull down. Right here, we're currently in a range of which we still tend to see more momentum towards the top. So I'll still be looking out for more movement towards the top, more movement towards the top. Yeah, I was actually on the buy USD CHF, but that is over the night, even though I closed already, closed around 30, 40 pips. So I'm no longer on the buy. Um, So this is my anticipation right here. So we need to see what is happening right here. Currently now, this looks like a range, but irrespective of this is a range, we are still an uptrending market because we failed to take out this current low. Until we take out this current low, that's how we can literally specify that the trend has changed. But as long as we are currently at this level, we're still in an uptrending market, and I'll look forward to taking more buys on this particular trade. That is my anticipation. That is my lookout. That is my view as well. So that is what I'm basically looking at when it comes to any of these currencies. Okay, which currency would you like me to analyze? Because I can't see any trade signal right now. Let me take a look at gold before I possibly call it a day. Okay, somebody said gold, somebody said BTC.
That's good.
So what is happening on gold? We're currently in uptrend, the higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. Right here, we had more like a break of structure, of which we're retesting this area. But I'm going to be very skeptical taking a sell from this area on gold because I'll literally need to see a peak of liquidity before I go in for a sell. And I'm not seeing any sign for that right now. There's no sign that liquidity is being picked. There's no sign that liquidity is being picked from. There's no sign that liquidity is being picked from right here. Hence, this is pretty skeptical, but maybe a tap right here and a movement to the downside. That is what I might possibly be looking out for, enough for me to take this particular trade right here. But I'm being patient. It's still going to be patient because gold is in a long-term uptrend. And what I'm going to highlight as the low is this area right here. The high, the low, which this wasn't taken out. So we're still in an uptrend as it stands. This was the high. This was an equal high. So this does not qualify for a lower high. This is actually the previous lower high right here. And the market taps into this area for a push towards the top. So that's basically it. Oh, look at BTC and we'll call it a day from right here. So BTC has pretty much been regaining strength since its last push to downside. I got it to over 74K. And we can see a lot of strength regained right here. A lower low, a lower high. Now we're currently ranging in between this area and this area. So maybe a little tap here, then a movement towards the top. A little tap there, then a movement to the top. Little tap down there, then a movement to the top. That is what I'll be anticipating on BTC. So if that doesn't happen, so yeah, exactly, I'm seeing more clarity that that has tendency to happen. It tapped towards the downside. It tapped towards the downside, then a movement towards the top. So if this doesn't happen, I'll be staying out of any trade. So this is what my view currently is on BTC. I think I'm trying to look for a trade signal for us because I'm not seeing I'm not seeing any trade signal at night. So this is basically everything. This is basically everything. Do we have any question? Okay, in place of no, we'll call it a day. So any signal that is going to be sent, we're going to update that on the group. Thank you everybody for staying up. See you all later.